Hi guys, and welcome to my brand new YouTube channel. My name is Kyra, but you might know me as Kyra Crochets on Instagram and TikTok. It is pronounced Kyra, by the way. That's a question I've got before. It's Kyra, it's not Kira. Or you might just recognize my Eras Tour surprise song blanket. I crocheted a blanket based on all of the surprise songs that Taylor Swift played on the Eras Tour. So the color of each row is based on the album that the surprise song is from. Or you might not know who I am at all, and that's also fine. So most of my content to date has been my Eras Tour surprise song reaction and crochet TikToks, but there are no more Eras Tour shows for the next 2 months. So I thought I would start this YouTube channel to give myself an excuse to post more content because otherwise I would miss it too much. And I thought, what better way to start than with a Q&A? So that is what we're doing today. I had you guys send me questions on Instagram and TikTok, so thank you very much to everyone who sent questions. And I just thought I would go through a few of them today and tell you guys a little bit more about me. I will say a majority of the questions were about crochet and Taylor Swift, which is valid. So I'm gonna do all the crochet questions and then all the Taylor questions and then all the miscellaneous stuff. So let's get into it. So the first question, and definitely the most common question I got, was how long have you been crocheting? I started crocheting in November 2020. We weren't in quarantine, but it was still very much pandemic times, and I feel like a lot of people picked up new hobbies during that time. I was one of them, and it was crochet, and it has stuck with me ever since. So I'm coming up on 3 years, which is crazy to think about. My first crochet project ever was a washcloth. I made it with acrylic yarn, which is really not absorbent at all, so it does not function very well as a washcloth. That's a pro tip for new crocheters. If you're making a washcloth, make it with cotton yarn, please. I think crochet was just like becoming more trendy at that point. Like I saw more people on the internet talking about crocheting, and I am very easily influenced. So as soon as I see a couple other people making these cute things, I'm like, I need to do that. And so I did, and I have not stopped. One of the other most common questions I got was tips for new crocheters, and I don't want to get into that too much in this video just because I do want to make a whole other separate video on that, but it will take me a bit. I don't know how good I am at explaining things, but I'm gonna try. So keep a lookout for that, but in the meantime, YouTube videos are your best friend. I truly believe that anyone can learn to crochet, so if you watch a video or two and you aren't getting it, just keep looking because there are so many different ways that people explain things and you will find the way that clicks the best in your head, I promise. I wish I remembered specifically how I learned to crochet, but for some reason I literally cannot remember a single video I watched or article I read or anything. But they are out there. There's so many good resources out there. Another fiber arts question I got was, have you ever knit? And this is funny to me because I actually learned to knit way before I ever learned to crochet. I have a few aunts who are knitters, so when I was like 9 or 10 maybe, I learned to knit. I would always use chunky yarn. I never learned to purl, I only learned the knit stitch, so everything I made was in garter stitch because I would just knit every single row. And I think the only thing I ever really made was scarves for my friends, but I do still have a bunch of knitting needles for some reason, so I really would love to get back into it. But I just find it so much more difficult than crochet, so I haven't been super motivated to pick it back up. A crochet adjacent question I got was favorite thing to watch while crocheting. And this is different than just favorite movie or TV show to me. When I crochet, I feel like I can't watch anything with too much or too complex of a plot because my focus is like split between the project and what I'm watching. I've found that what works best for me is very lighthearted shows. I binged season 1 of The Summer I Turned Pretty while crocheting. I still need to watch season 2, that's next on my list. I've watched a lot of Gilmore Girls while crocheting. I also watch a lot of random YouTube videos. Basically anything that makes me feel good and doesn't require too much of my attention. The last crochet question I have for today is favorite thing you've ever crocheted. And I feel like the obvious answer here would be the surprise song blanket, just because of how many other people also made their own, which is so cool to me. I'm also working on a compilation video of all the different surprise song projects that I've been sent, so that is still coming. Other than that, I think my album cover projects are some of my favorite ones to do. I've done album cover tote bags for Melodrama by Lorde, Gone Now by Bleachers, Strange Desire by Bleachers, Good Riddance by Gracie Abrams, and then I also made a sweater of the album cover of Take the Sadness Out of Saturday Night by Bleachers. That was my first like very complex project with a lot of different colors. Wanna say hi? This is Livy. Say hi. You don't even know what a camera is. Long story short, anything where I'm able to combine music and crochet is my favorite. Next up, I have a few Taylor Swift related questions. The first one is, how did you become a Taylor Swift fan? And I feel like it's not a very interesting story because I feel like I've just kind of always known who Taylor Swift was. I remember being very young and hearing Teardrops on My Guitar in like a McDonald's play place. That's also one of those memories where I don't even know if it's true or if I like dreamed it at some point. That's my first Taylor Swift memory. I know I always liked a couple songs here and there, whatever I heard on the radio or whatever. Red was the first Taylor album that I fully listened to and loved front to back the entire album. And then 1989 is the album that like made me a hardcore fan. So needless to say, I am very excited for 1989 Taylor's version on October 27th. Not me doing promo for her. I had a Tumblr for like 2 seconds, but I didn't know how to make friends, so I deleted it. That's so sad. Next Taylor question, are you going to the Eras Tour 2024? As of now, no. I would really love to go to Indianapolis, but my entire family was put on the wait list. I'm sure a lot of you relate to that. So I do not currently have tickets, but I am hoping to maybe get my hands on some at some point in the next year. I was fortunate enough to go to Cincinnati Night 1, thanks to SeatGeek, which was crazy, but obviously if I get the chance, I would love to go again. If I don't, that's fine too. Next question is, Taylor song you relate to the most? The first one that comes to mind is definitely You're on Your Own, Kid. That one just hits every time. I don't know what it is about it. I think a lot of people can really relate to that one. Clearly it touches on something very universal. I deal with a lot of anxiety, so the line, make the friendship bracelets, take the moment and taste it, you've got no reason to be afraid, always really hits hard for me because it's the reminder that I need to tell myself every single day. I also relate to The Best Day because I love my mom. Also, A Place in This World is definitely up there as one of the most relatable for me because I don't know what I'm doing and I am just a girl trying to find a place in this world. And it's funny that I related to that when I was the age that Taylor was when she wrote it, and I still relate to it now, more than I would like to admit. Next question is favorite Taylor album, and I can never decide on my top Taylor album, so I will give you my top 3 because that does not change. My top 3 Taylor albums, not in order, are Folklore, Evermore, why was I gonna say Midnights? I love Midnights, but no. Folklore, Evermore, 1989. Folklore and Evermore, as soon as they came out, straight to the top of the list. And I don't know if anything is gonna change that for a while, but knowing her, it might. Next up, we have favorite track 5. In case you aren't like a hardcore Taylor Swift fan, there's this thing with her track 5s, where track 5 on every album is a song that's like very emotional and they just always hit really hard. And I think I would have to say that my favorite is You're on Your Own, Kid. I already said it, but it hits home. I also love the production on it. I love Jack Antonoff and anything he's ever worked on. The build up in the bridge, the lyrics, everything is just so top tier about that song. However, I have to also give a shout out to Dear John because that was my top track 5 until You're on Your Own, Kid came out, and don't even get me started on that song. And last up for the Taylor questions, we have dream surprise song combo. My dream combo, if I could have any 2 songs, it would be Right Where You Left Me on guitar, preferably with Aaron Dessner present, and You're on Your Own, Kid on piano. Luckily, a lot of my favorite songs of hers are already on the Eras set list, but those two are right near the top of my list, and I would cry if I got to hear them. And now we have some just miscellaneous random questions. I'll start with just some basics about me. I am 22 years old. I live in Michigan. My birthday is February 5th. A couple people asked when my birthday was. I am currently working on finishing up my social media marketing degree online, and I actually work at my church as their like social media person, which I really enjoy doing. Next question, what are your hobbies besides crocheting? One of my favorite hobbies is reading. I actually just got a Kindle today for the first time, which I'm super excited about because I'm hoping it'll maybe get me to read more. I like singing and playing instruments. I mostly play piano and guitar. I played saxophone all through school, but I haven't really touched it in a minute. I know a little bit of trumpet. I really wanted to learn cello, but it like hurts my brain to think about. And I have a clarinet, and I really would love to learn how to play clarinet. I like painting. I've really liked making bracelets since the Eras tour. Yeah, just like anything creative is fun for me. Next up is favorite music artists, besides Taylor, obviously. I am a massive, massive fan of Bleachers, which, if you didn't know, is Jack Antonoff's band. They're incredible. I've seen them live 5 times, and I need to see them like 50 more. I feel like I'm about to just like rattle off all the Eras tour openers. I'm very basic. I love Muna, I love Gracie Abrams, I love Phoebe Bridgers and Boy Genius. I really love Lizzie McAlpine, Maisie Peters, Olivia Rodrigo, all the pop girlies, you know. I know I'm missing some. I need to make some playlists. Next we have favorite places to travel. I don't really travel a ton. My family goes to Florida every year, so I guess I would say Florida. I would love to go back to New York. I've only been once on like a high school band trip and it was really fun, but I would love to visit in the context of not a high school band trip also, just so I can like plan my own itinerary. I do really like Chicago. I go there for concerts sometimes because it's one of the closest like big concert cities to me. But yeah, I need to get out more. Next up is dream job. I think I would really love to work in social media for a band or artist that I love, or social media for like a publishing company. I feel like I'm just very drawn to social media because it allows me to like use the creative side of my brain and then also the analytical side of my brain that loves looking at data and stuff. So any like social media creative position combined with something else that I'm passionate about. Next question is favorite movie. I always say La La Land. I am obsessed with La La Land. I just think it's one of the most gorgeous movies ever. I love musicals. I did theater all through high school, but also Legally Blonde is a huge like feel-good movie for me. I love that movie. Next question is first concert you went to. The first like real or like big concert I went to was the 1989 tour in Chicago, which was very fun but also very overwhelming for a first concert. But the first concert that I ever went to was the American Idol season 7 tour. I was a David Archuleta stan. It was literally on my first day of school that year and my parents drove me 2 hours away after school to go see the American Idol tour. And I have no regrets. It was amazing. I think. I don't remember it. Next is what kind of books do you like? I'm a sucker for any romance books. I always want to get into more like literary fiction and stuff because I like that stuff too, but I always just come back to the same like cheesy romance every single time. But I also love a good thriller every now and then. I also really want to get more into fantasy because I'm not into fantasy, but I want to be. Next question is morning person or night owl? The answer to this is probably pretty obvious given how willing I was to stay up very late for Surprise on the Clock on the Heires tour, but I am a huge night owl. I am not a morning person at all. I would like to change that because mornings are nice, but I am naturally very much a night owl. And the last question for today's video is cats or dogs? And I do love them both. Shout out to cats, but I'm a dog person. My family has 2 dogs. They're both mini schnauzers. They're very cute and I love them very much. We've always had dogs, so I'm a dog person, but I also love cats. I don't want to like make the cat community mad because I also love cats. And that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I have a lot of different videos planned for the future, but if you have any ideas or requests, let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. Thank you so much for being here. I love you very much, and I hope you have a great day.